This tragedy should never have occurred, and these families deserve to know how and why it did. That's why our government has been working closely with our international partners to ensure that a thorough and credible investigation is conducted. And we will not rest until we get accountability and justice for the victims' families. We've also been in close contact with the families to ensure they have all the support they need, from facilitating travel and fast-tracking visas to providing legal and financial assistance. We're also matching up to $1.5 million in donations to the Canada Strong Fund for those affected by this tragedy. Mr. Speaker, I want to end this tribute by addressing the families and loved ones of the victims on behalf of all Canadians. بدانید که ما در کنار شما ایستادیم. Know that we stand with you. We will not let you weather this storm alone, and we will never forget the people you loved. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
In the memory of those who've lost, though, I call on all of us to acknowledge their loss by working for peace. The loss that we witnessed is an example of the horrible cost of war, the horrible cost of escalation of tension and of violence. Violence begets more violence. And it is incredibly important for all of us to commit, in the memory of those who've been lost, to work for peace and stability in the region.
For the victims' loved ones during these difficult times, you can count on us, all parliamentarians, the NDP. We will do our utmost to support people, and in the weeks and months to come, we must do everything in our power to prevent this type of tragedy from recurring.
The Iranian community, I want to end by saying, on behalf of all New Democrats, you have our condolences. We stand with you. We want to shoulder the burden with you. Tasliyat migam. Thank you.
Now, she's going to ask for a comment.
I must also mention that we don't just have to find out who was responsible, but also acknowledge together that military tension was at the root of this tragedy, and that lasting peace would have avoided it. Nonetheless, Quebecers, Canadians, and all nations affected are entitled to the full truth, the unvarnished, unsparing truth, thanks to all of the possibilities offered by modern technology. In this respect, of course, we will support the efforts of the Department of Foreign Affairs. It's natural to offer the families of victims financial support to help to lessen the effects of this delay and daily and lasting drama. However, make no mistake, we cannot bring back these mothers, sisters, brothers, spouses, and no amount of money can change that. Diplomatic relations, whether it be with any country, regardless of the country they're with, aren't just an exchange of proper techniques between friendly countries. They're the preferred method of communication between states that recognize each other's weights and work for prevention. The notion of justice is also critical. We also support all steps that will provide the slightest of relief through the carriage of credible, neutral, and, if necessary, severe justice. Yet we believe that there are only two solutions, albeit imperfect and tardy, to this tragedy. Compassion, Mr. Speaker, and, above all, lasting peace.
Called on the government to take a few reasonable and measured actions in response to this atrocity. One, the government must explain why they have not yet adopted a parliamentary motion to list the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or the IRGC, as a terrorist organization. The IRGC's fingerprints have been all over some of the worst terrorist attacks in the Middle East over the past few decades. Secondly, the government should be prepared to impose sanctions, magnitsky sanctions on Iran if they do not fully and immediately cooperate with international investigations. There have already been several worrying signals that the Iranian regime may not fully be cooperating. And finally, the government must deliver compensation from the Iranian regime to the families of victims and do its best to repatriate all Canadian remains. Mr. Speaker,
I also want to thank the Prime Minister for avoiding letting this issue become simplistic. I think the Prime Minister was right in saying that if there had not been an assassination by drone, these people would have made their own way home safely. The situation was created by more than one event, by more than one country, and on another occasion, we need to find out exactly what took place and if the initial event that led to the rising of tensions was in any way legal under international law. But this is not that time. This is a time to say, as clearly as we possibly can, à tous les membres des familles, tous les proches, toutes les familles qui sont touchées par cette tragédie énorme, nous sommes avec vous. We are with you. We will not allow you to stand alone as the time of grieving continues. And as we say as my attempt, I appreciate that one honourable member has gone before me, to say in Farsi, deepest condolences. Tasliat, mesdames.